of council order for Monday, January 15th, 2024. For approval of the agenda, there was a addendum handed to us, or it was on your wickets. So I'm going to read the recommendation that council amends the agenda for Monday, January 15th, 2024 by adding a fee waiver request from the Canadian Junior Rangers as item 7.15 under consent agenda. Need a seconder. Councillor Norbury, discussion. So I'm going to make a couple comments. I won't be supporting the motion, and the reason I won't support the motion is we don't have staff in the room that can answer the questions that I have, so I didn't get a chance, because of where it was landed, I didn't get a chance to come in and ask the questions that I would want to ask about the use of a pool for fly fishing. Hooks, things like that are concerning to me. So I won't be in favor. Councillor Norbury?
Just to alleviate some of your concerns, Mayor Kakalka, I've been discussing with the Junior Canadian Rangers and their facilitator.
Oh, go ahead.
We haven't done all the other things
Can't
before this.
we have to add this?
Don't we put it in the agenda and then discuss it on the agenda?
Not until it gets added. Right, so this has to be unanimously added to the agenda because it's not in our agenda. Councillor Norbury?
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. In this agenda item, I've been working with the Junior Rangers and their fly fisher organizer, and I know that they have been in discussion with the community center. I'm not involved in those particular discussions, but for some reason, being next door, they talked to me about it, and I am aware that in their conversations, they've confided to me that they do have the support of the community center staff and all that sort of stuff. So I understand you have your concerns, but I do know that they've done their diligence in making sure that schedules are accommodated.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Norbury. And they reached out to me today too and explained that they had discussed with the community center and seemed like it was go, but we have a chlorine pool. Is there any effects from whether it's the hook, the line, or whatever? I mean, actually, I was told there didn't sound like the community center would allow the hooks. That I don't know for sure. I have not been able to ask staff, so that's the only reason I will not be supporting it. Councillor Julik?
I guess for me, I'm willing to put it on the consent agenda, like to approve it for the agenda and then have the discussion there because I have some thoughts there.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Defeat? Opposed? Sorry, defeated. We can talk about it later, maybe have them come in something. But take approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Norbury?
That the January 15th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Klickash. Wasn't added. You're talking about it wasn't added, it was defeated. Has to be unanimous, really. Has to be unanimous. It wasn't. I opposed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes for December 4th, 2023, regular council meeting minutes. Recommendation. Councillor Dussault.
That the December 4th, 2023 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff?
None, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, delegations. We're supposed to have a delegation with Marcel Brodeur, Tumbler Ridge resident, intends to discuss the increase in water and sewer tax rate. I see at this time he's not here, so I'm going to continue on, and if he does come in, we'll add that item later. If that's fine with council. Okay. Okay, on to consent agenda. 7.1, take the recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That all items in the January 15th, 2024 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Are there any items that council would like to bring forward for discussion? Councillor Noxana.
7.3.
Okay, for discussion, seconder. I'll second that. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Councillor Noxana?
The letter is pretty self-explanatory. Thank you, Councillor Norbury, for bringing it forward. And I would like to make a motion that the Mayor and Council of Tumbler Ridge recognizes the importance of affordable patient accommodation to access healthcare, and that the Ministry of Health continue to fully support the funding of the Boltry's House operations.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Hoffman, discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Motion carries. Any other items, Councillor Norbury?
I'd like to speak to this agenda item, Mayor Kakalka.
Yep,
So-
still for discussion.
Thank you. I just want to let everyone know that I did meet with the Deputy Minister of Health in regards to the Boltry's House funding, and I believe that was a successful meeting. I appreciate the letter of support, as nothing is finalized. We don't have our signed contract, but the Deputy Minister of Health was very supportive of the society. And in that meeting, we had the CEO of Northern Health, Ciro, his last name's in the agenda, but he was there, and the Deputy Minister was very adamant that the Ministry of Health's intentions are to continue support for the Boltry's House for years moving forward. So, but that being said, until this contract is signed, any and all support is welcome. So just want to give everybody an update there.
Yeah, thank you for the update. And I know that other municipalities, including the regional district, have all showed support and they're signing the same letters. And, you know, thank you guys and your board for doing that, because it's huge to be able to, you know, get that funding from Northern Health, but to continue that on for all the residents outside of Dawson Creek. So, okay, any more discussion on that item? Okay, any other items that council would like to bring forward? Councillor Julik.
I'd like to bring forward 7.4.
Okay, for discussion, Councillor Noxana, all in favor? Carried. Go ahead, Councillor Julik.
When they talk about the transportation in the letter here, and they mentioned TR Cares, I unfortunately wasn't able to get to the AGM of TR Cares just to get a better understanding of what it is their mandate is and where they may need help in the future, or what that looks like. So I'd love to be able to invite them to a meeting, whether it's a PPC meeting, or I'd be happy to just go and meet with them myself. Like, I don't know which way to go, but I feel like we need to get some feedback from TR Cares from what I understand from this letter, they're like, yeah, we want to support them. I just want to make sure they're getting the support that they need. So however we, as council, feels the best way to go about that, I'd love to make that happen.
Okay, just put a motion on the floor to have staff reach out to TR Cares to invite them to a PMP meeting. Councillor Julik.
I'd like to make a motion that staff reach out to TR Cares organization and invite them to a PPC meeting.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion, Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I think it's appropriate, but I'd like to make an amendment to your motion, Councillor Julik, in that I think if we're having a discussion about transportation in our region, that we also talk with Mr. Steve of the VP of Public Affairs, responsible for the Northern Health Connections bus. And the reason why I say that is sometimes when we're dealing...
Hang on a second, if you're going to put
Yep.
an amendment, let's do the amendment,
Okay.
and then we'll get a seconder, and then we can have discussion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to make an amendment to include Steve R. of the VP Public Affairs for Northern Health Connections bus.
Okay, seconder on the amendment, Councillor Klickash. Okay, discussion on the amendment, Councillor Norbury.
As I previously said, when we're dealing with two distinct organizations, I believe sometimes we can have a bit of a communication gap or unawareness of what's being offered. And sometimes one organization would think the other fills a hole where the other won't. So it'd just be good to have everyone in the same room so that there isn't that game of telephone or back and forth, and we can get a good conversation going about transportation in our region.
Okay, any more discussion on the amendment? I'll make a couple of comments on that, and it's not that I don't disagree with Councillor Norbury, but I think one thing we should be doing is the first step, and that's meeting with TR Cares. And the reason I say that without Steve Rapper, is so we can make sure the dialogue is with TR Cares, and then enlighten them that we're thinking of having a meeting with this Steve from Northern Health with the VP of Public Affairs, just so we're not blindsiding that organization when they come in as a delegation to the mayor and council. I think we need to stay on our side and let TR Cares stay on their side, but inviting TR Cares in to get some of their dialogue and see maybe where they need some help, or maybe they don't, but advise them that this is one of the other roads that will be looking at. I just think the initial step would be with TR Cares. That's just my only insight. I agree with you, and I've seen the letter, and I mean, it's great that they finally responded from the UBCM, but that would be the only thing is making sure TR Cares knows that I wouldn't want to, unless we advise them at the same time too that we're inviting both, something, but I just don't want to blindside them that they're coming to a meeting and all of a sudden another organization shows up. Councillor Julik and then Councillor Noxana.
Yeah, I agree with Mayor Kukalka on this. I understand I understand where Councillor Norbury is coming from. I think I don't have an understanding enough with TR Cares. And with Mr. Raper, he is looking at TR Cares is our community. VP of Public Affairs, I feel like, is for the district, like all of it. I would agree. I would like to just meet first with TR Cares and get feedback from them.
Councillor Noxana.
Thank you. I think both of these are really important, that we should have that communication with TR Cares, but also getting the VP of Public Affairs and TR Cares and ourselves in a room to have that discussion, to see who's providing what service and what are we lacking. Because TR Cares is an amazing organization and they do great things, but we know that there's still that gap in services for our community. So hopefully getting the Northern Health Connections bus on board and understanding what our gaps are is vital. And I think we can only get that by getting them in the same room.
Okay, I got myself and then Councillor Norbury, and I don't disagree with you. I just think the first step is to meet with TR Cares to find out what their gaps are. To me, we become an advocacy part on behalf of TR Cares. with Steve Rapper of VP of Public Affairs. I mean, he's asking in his letter, willing to meet with you to discuss the approach to transportation, any concerns or ideas you have. To me, I need to, have, I mean, I understand TR Cares quite a bit. Be honest, haven't met with them probably in the last few months, but to me, we need to find out if they have gaps, what those gaps are and what they need from council, and then let them know that we have a direct contact that we could all meet down, including TR Cares, with the individual as a VP of Public Affairs to discuss those gaps and what can we do, and here's some ideas. Would they be willing to me, again, pay for them? Maybe TR Cares can do it, but they don't have all that funding. So again, I think we need to find out if TR Cares has gaps, and that's why my thoughts are to meet with them first, then involve the next group. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I mean, I can appreciate the comments that we want to meet with one than the other, but I have two concerns there. One is the speed at which we can get things going. Having two separate meetings, I'm concerned with the amount of time it'll take to organize them. Because we have to have one, then we have another. And the second meeting, I think it would still be appropriate that we have both people in the room because, again, like game of telephone, the TR Cares may say what their concerns are, and they're hearing it secondhand, and I think they need to hear it from them in particular. And that kind of gets me to my second point where by having the meeting with both of them in the room, TR Cares can tell Northern Health Connection bus people directly what their needs are. And maybe Northern Health, and they can come up with an idea of how they can assist at that meeting. So my thoughts is better to be collaborative early on versus, slowing down the process. So that's just my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Julik?
I get my concern, just to toss the ball around here, because I don't know that I have a strong, my concern overall is that maybe there's something that TR Cares would say without this person who's ultimately in charge of the purse strings. If they're in the room, that might keep them quieter than maybe they would be for another reason. I just feel like I'd like to give, I don't know if autonomies, I would like to give TR Cares the ability to speak freely. And I'm not sure that would happen with that other gentleman in the room because they would ultimately, like, so I'll back this up a bit. If I had confidence or if I knew exactly where TR Cares was sitting, I would be more confident in putting us all in the room together. Because I don't know what TR Cares struggles are at this point and where their struggles are or who they may be with, I would be willing to wait the extra time if it was to take a bunch of extra time. I would rather meet with TR Cares prior to inviting another organization in.
Okay, thank you. I just think I'm just going to make another comment. And my concept here is when I read this is TR Cares can already reach out to Steve Raper with the VP of Public Affairs. It's probably, I don't want to speak on his behalf. I've never met John, but I'm assuming he's probably the one that negotiates their contract. To me, the way I read it, it sounds like when they raise transportation concerns in the community, TR Cares' local solution to transportation challenges is supported by Northern Health. And to me, this is Northern Health Connection Bus. So I would think they're probably interlinked already. And to me, I think, again, I prefer to meet with with TR Cares, see if they have any gaps. Maybe maybe we're thinking there's gaps and there really isn't, but there's things that we want added that we know, whether it's more rides out of town for health and more times a week, which we would have to be looking for funding, and maybe TR Cares isn't willing to take those on. Maybe they don't have the support. So I think, to me, hearing from TR Cares to make sure we're not stepping on their toes, and then advocate if that's what they look like. If they can get a better contract, they could offer more, then I think that's when we involve and make sure they're aware that we involve this gentleman and have the discussion as a whole. That would be my thoughts. Okay, I'm going to call a question on the amendment. Councillor Norbury, can you just read your amendment out again, please? Thank you.
To include Steve Rapper, VP Public Affairs, responsible for the Northern Health Connections Bus, to the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call a question on the amendment. All in favor? Opposed? Amendment's defeated. Councillor Dussault, Clickash, Julik, Mayor Kukalka, and Councillor Hoffman all voted opposed. I'll discuss that at the end there. If you read the agenda at the back, something we'll be doing going forward due to the live feed. All right, so the motion's on the floor in regards to reaching out to TR Cares, have staff reach out to set up a delegation at a PMP. Any more discussion? Call the question, all in favor. Motion carries. Are there any other items the council would like to bring forward? Councillor Norbury?
7.8, Ministry of Housing.
Discussion? Second it. Councillor Hoffman? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. So it seems like we got a letter back from the Ministry of Housing regarding our meeting with BC Housing. And to put it politely, it seems like they're kicking the can down the road and pushing the responsibility back on us, which is not what was discussed at our housing meeting. It sounded to me like BC Housing was committed to taking down the buildings and rebuilding them, and this seems like it's telling us that they support us in applying to the Community Housing Fund to do it ourselves, which is, in my opinion, wrong, because it's not our properties. This is BC Housing's responsibility, and we need to hold them accountable to either fix them, tear them down, and then also meet the needs in our community. So I don't know if I'm quite ready to make a motion yet, but I think we should be reaching out to Minister Bernier, our local representation, the shadow minister for housing, and Minister Kahl to arrange a meeting in Victoria where we can discuss this. That'd be my thoughts.
Thank you. Before I go to council, just to make a couple of comments. So I look at when we received the letter in return compared to when, to me, some of the initial emails went out. There's more emails than just June 22nd, 2023. So that's concerning. I have reached out to the minister again to see if, while I'm in Vancouver, if he's anywhere within that area that we can meet, just to have that discussion. But I plan on sending a letter anyways, but another email. But I just want council to be aware that I've sent one already this morning. Councillor Julik, and then Councillor Hoffman.
I hope if you get a meeting, I can be in there with you, just so I can look grumpy. Because I absolutely took this the same as Councillor Norbury. They were just kicking the can back to our way. I absolutely don't think this is our, I don't know what the word is. I don't think it's our problem. It is our problem, but the housing belongs to BC Housing. So when they're talking about a yeah, I appreciate you reaching out because we're going to be in Vancouver anyways. I don't have strong enough words. I'm actually a little dumbfounded by the whole thing. It's like they are deliberately misunderstanding. And that it comes from Minister Callan. Like, he wasn't involved in any of it. Like, why was there nothing for, like, there's so many different things. So I'm like Councillor Norbury. I don't know what that motion looks like, but I would even like for us to be able to have a timeline written up showing the correspondence that we've had, the town hall meeting that we had, what we were told, you know what I mean? Like having a timeline that we can go back to the minister with and say, like, this can't continue to go on. We have no housing, so here we are in minus 40 weather, and we had no place to put people. Like if there had been a need. There's so many different things, but I would like to see it when we do get a motion made, and maybe Ms. Torville has an idea what that looks like, but I would like to see us add a timeline of the work that we've already done on this and why our frustration has reached the level that it's at.
Thank you. I got myself, Councillor Hoffman, and Councillor Noxana. So really and truly, I guess Minister Kahl there, that was our initial meeting when I went down to Victoria. And to me, I thought he was well prepared with the right people in the room or on Zoom. To me, the action was quick from the ministry in my thoughts on how quick we actually had a meeting in person in Tumbler Ridge. It's after that it's gone nowhere, and I don't know if maybe he's not understanding my emails, and also through the EA, right? So I've had the EA send quite a few emails, but maybe they're not understanding the email that we're looking for the follow-up that was promised by BC Housing at that meeting. That how they were going to come back in and dialogue with our community and our residents on what the actual need was. And, maybe they're not the two-level duplexes or, condos that are down there. Maybe it's more apartment styles for some and some different ones. But that's the problem I have is that dialogue hasn't even come back from BC Housing. To me, that was a promise made with council in attendance and with our residents. And to me, I thought that was the next step. And not just, here, do this, and then you send the email back to us after the grant closes, a month after, pretty much. So that's my concern. But yeah, like I said, again, I did reach out. I've actually talked with Mr. Bernier via email as well, because I'm assuming he may be able to help me. I'm not sure when they go back into legislation. I didn't look up the date, but I'm hoping that we can meet while I'm in Vancouver, and obviously you're in attendance, so 100% would be invited, but it's just cheaper if we're already down in Vancouver for another conference, so if we can piggyback on that and take that opportunity to be able to meet face to face. Like I said, when I went down to Victoria with the EA and stuff, I thought we were actually seeing something, and to me now it's kind of gone the other way around. And then I understand that, we might not have a huge, I don't want to say there's not a homeless issue in Tumbler Ridge. I believe there's people that, whether it's jump couch to couch, I'm not sure what you call the term on that, but we don't have people that are living outside at this time. And maybe there is, but I'm not aware of those. But to me, BC Housing, when we have low housing, it actually helps the single moms, the single dads. That's what I'm looking for. Those people that are paying high rent that can get into housing that is affordable to them. That was the idea. And I just don't think we can let it go, and I don't think it's our job to start stirring up all these organizations and applying for grants. And if we don't have a nonprofit that could take it on, start reaching out to other organizations. They mentioned SOTO right in this letter. So to me, you're telling us to go and reach out to a nation and say, hey, please come help us. Are they aware of that? I did try to reach out to the chief of SOTO. Have not heard back from them to see if they received the same letter, but they're mentioning SOTO in here. And, we haven't even had that dialogue with SOTO because we were expecting BC Housing to do their job. So, Councillor Hoffman and Councillor Noxana.
Thank you, Mayor. And you cut off half of what I was going to get into, but I'm glad you already contacted SOTO, because I think that's, I'm glad the sentiment is read the same way. I pretty much got kick rocks after I read this, so I'm I'm thinking we're just going to have to broad base deal with that, whether it's contacting SOTO and now Friendship Center. I mean, I think we need to check that off the list. I know it's staff time, but we're going to have to over-prepare when we're dealing with BC Housing, it looks like here. And the other step on that I was thinking of is that maybe we need to at least spend some time or some staff time on seeing what our needs are. I mean, just looking at the realtor.ca site of what's available in town, there's a fraction of what was available a couple of years ago. They're just, whether it's low cost or not, we don't have a lot of excess space. Another mine expansion or mine opening, we have less space. We're going to need housing, and not housing 3 years from now, but housing, 6 months from now. So, I mean, I'm not going to say a notion. I'd like to hear what everybody has to say first, but I think we need to, every avenue they suggest in here, we should investigate, and I think on a level for ourselves, we should prepare something where we're flat out saying, we want X. I don't know what X is yet, but if it's the first branch of a multi-unit complex isn't strong, a multi-unit structure, where we say we want 8 units, 4 in the first 4 corners, first floor, 4 corners, second floor for these uses, then they can come back and say, we're not going to do that. Well, then what are you going to do? Just something to push it forward, because it doesn't seem like they want to push it forward. So, not sure how that's going to look, but I don't think sitting on our hands there's anything going to get done for a very long time. And I really don't think we have another community group that's going to be started up to actually push forward as an operator. So I am not going to ignore it. I think we should address that in our statement, but I think we should make it clear that we're intending to move forward without a community-based operator, and something needs to be done, and they need to do something. Now, I haven't been here that long, but I know that's going to get a response this time. But the next time and the time after that, we need to do the same thing. Because the sooner we push as hard as we can, the sooner something's going to happen, whether it's a year now or 3 years from now. Because there's no desire to initiate something and get something done here. And I'm not going to put motives on it. I simply don't know if it's time or money on their side, but there's a need here. There's a need now. There's going to be a bigger need in the future. And the sooner we push hard, I think the sooner something might move in our direction. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Knox-Sound and then Councillor Klickash.
Thank you. I share the frustration that this letter doesn't really say anything and gives us some funding we can apply for, but it closed a month before the letter was sent. The other frustration that I have is it doesn't say anything about the condemned properties coming down. We were told this spring that these are dangerous, they're condemned, they need to go. They're going to do it, it's happening. We all agreed, fine, this is going to happen, they're going to go down. And as of this spring, they were highly targeted. They were being broken into, vandalized regularly, and this was tying up valuable emergency responder time responding to these break-ins. And now we're sitting here months later, and they're still standing. I have no idea if they're still being targeted. But there's nothing in this letter about them coming down. So we need to know when this is happening as well.
Yep, I agree with you. And just before I go to Councillor Klickash, I'm not sure if maybe he didn't get all the information that we had in the meeting that we had in room 4. That's what I'm unsure of, right? Again, I'll be honest, I haven't had a direct dialogue with him, but I'm wondering if he's didn't get the full report back from his staff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's been missed there, because that's what all of our understanding was. Councillor Klickash, then Councillor Norbury.
Your Worship, the biggest problem I see is like when the arena was being built, the engineers, they invited the engineers that were doing the arena down there to have a look at the place. The same problems are there today. They never fixed anything. And the thing is, the management being outside of Tumbler Ridge hasn't worked. They've had managers from Chetwynd and Dawson Creek, Fort St. John, and nothing gets done. So there's a big issue here with the whole thing, and I think that we should push it right back on them and tell them to get it done. And I don't think it's not bad enough. It wasn't bad enough then that it couldn't be repaired, and I don't think it's changed much since. So there's a few break-ins, needs windows. It needed windows there at that time. It needed siding, it needed a dress-up and a roof and roofing and stuff like that. There was a lot of furnaces that were changed. All kinds of things were done. And cabinets, new cabinets put in and stuff like that. So, like, I believe it wouldn't take that much to finish it off and be able to rent it out. There's 20 units there. Some of them are 2-bedroom, some of them are 3-bedroom. Service a lot of people. So I think we should push it back on them and tell them to get it fixed. Everybody else in the province is getting things fixed. We should too.
I agree. I got Councillor Norbury and Councillor Julik.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I'm glad to see that we're all kind of in the same moment of frustration. So I'd like to make a motion that I'll slow down, that staff arrange a meeting with the Minister of Housing and BC Housing to occur in Victoria in regards to the BC housing units on Chamberlain, and inform and invite our local MLA, Mike Bernier, and the Shadow Minister of Housing to the proposed meeting.
Okay. Take a seconder of that. Councillor Duceau. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Julik.
Yeah, I was looking at a motion as well. Mine was more about a letter. My concern about asking for the invite is what if we get turned down? Like if they just say no, what's the next step? Like, so do we then make a motion to do a letter? Like, I'm okay to do that. I'm just wondering what our next steps are then. Like for me, I was looking for us to be able to put together a letter with the history of what we've done so far and ask for a short turnaround response on that. And I agree that that letter could include Minister Bernier as well as whoever the shadow minister is for housing. Yeah, I'm just concerned, and so I would put that back to Councillor Norbury if we get a denial on that. What does that look like? And a quick comment to in regards to Councillor Hoffman, if I could. I'm not in support of getting our staff to look at what our housing needs are at this point. I think that that kind of takes away. If we say that we'll look into that, then we aren't. To me, that shows maybe we aren't confident, and it's not even that part. To me, BC Housing needs to do their job, and us looking into what the need isn't there. They likely have the stats there, and I think what was proven out though at our Let's Talk thing was there was people who said that they had applied for housing and was told there was none. The person that was in the meeting for that said, oh, we didn't get any requests because we have housing here, and people had been told that there was none. So that would be on that point.
Okay, I got Councillor Duceau and then myself.
Thank you, Your Worship. I agree with what everybody is saying here, and I felt the same way about this letter. No, I don't know where in transition, maybe all this information is getting lost. Maybe we need to resend it again when we send out that letter.
Point of order, Mayor?
Yep, point of order.
I believe we have a motion on the floor, and we, by going back to the previous discussion, we're losing track of the current motion on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So that'd be my fault, no council's fault, so.
okay,
Motion's on the floor, if we just debate the motion first, then we'll come back for discussion.
okay.
Thank you, Councilor Burr.
I'm good then. I don't have anything else to add to that motion, so.
Sorry about that, Councilor Duceau, but I'll have your name down first and we go back for discussion. I got myself and then I got Councilor Norbury. Make a couple comments. Think one, the letter should come from the mayor's office. Staff can help me draft it, send it out to council if you wish. Setting up a meeting, I have no problem inviting Mr. Bernier. We did set up a meeting at one point and invited in government ministry and shadow ministry. It did not work. One of them didn't show up to the meeting. They don't do those. They're not big on joining in the same room to have that debate. I'm trying to think. It was a Zoom meeting and it was at Town Hall. I can't remember, but they didn't. They both came in separately. It wasn't in the same meeting because they don't have the let's let them do that in legislation, which we can involve them, but I can't remember, I think Councillor Julick might remember what ministry it was, but that's what happened, and it was ended up being our MLA and the shadow minister were separate, like they were together, and then we had a different meeting, and they don't join together in those meetings. But just in regards to your motion, support it. I just think it should be coming from the mayor's office. The reason I say that, it might have more gloat come from us, right? From the mayor offices, from mayor and council. It's got my header on it, but, not that I don't think the staff has some gloat, but I think, this is addressed to me, and I think the next letter should come back from us. And then, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now, and if I need to, I'll come back. Councillor Norbury, then Councillor Hoffman.
I don't think it's inappropriate to do both. We send a letter and we set up a meeting. Ultimately, how this works when we send a letter back, we just send it to housing.minister@gov.bc.ca, and then we get an automated message back. I went through the same thing when I tried to reach out to the Ministry of Health. They don't get back to you for weeks. I think a letter is fine. It's a good idea to inform them of the issues at hand, but ultimately, I think we should be having a face-to-face meeting because that has a lot more credibility versus letters back and forth. Let's meet. Let's talk about it right now. Get people in the same room. Have a conversation. And when it comes to the shadow minister, ultimately we're just going to let them know and invite them. If they come, that's fine. Maybe they could use it as, as a talking point when they're, as the critic, to get more clout on the issue. Like, hey, what are you guys doing up in Tumbler Ridge? I am not opposed to some political debate to get something for our residents. So, yeah, I'm in support of the motion.
Yeah, and sorry if I miscommunicated. I'm just saying a letter coming from the mayor's office, looking for the meeting. Not just a letter, but requesting a meeting at this quickest availability to himself. So my apologies if that didn't come through, Councillor. But that's what I'm talking about in regards to that letter. Having it come right from here, it's addressed from us. Send it right back saying we want to come down there. We want to have a meeting. So that's what I meant. My apologies if it didn't come through that way. Councillor Hoffman and then Councillor Julick.
Thank you, Mayor. Just flat out in support of the motion as is. I think worst case scenario, we might end up with 2 meetings. If Shadow doesn't want to meet at the same time, there's nothing to stop it from being booked at the same day, different time, or however it could work out that way. And I will save the rest for the future discussion since there's a motion on the floor.
Thank you, Councillor Hoffman. Councillor Julick?
Yeah, I would agree that I'm in support of writing the letter for meeting, and I'm glad you clarified, Mayor Kakauka, because I did misunderstand. And I'll vote on this one, and then I'll make a motion for the other.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion in regards to the motion? Councillor Norbury, I'll get you to read your motion out, please.
That staff arrange a meeting with the Minister of Housing and BC Housing to occur in Victoria in regards to the BC housing units on Chamberlain, and inform and invite our local MLA, Mike Bernier, and the Shadow Minister for Housing to the proposed meeting.
Thank you. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. So the only discussion I'll go before I go to council just so is, I know we're talking about doing a needs assessment or whatever. We do have a housing needs assessment done. It's on the shelf. I'm not sure what year it was done in, but it's something we can, we've supplied it. We supplied it when we went down to Victoria. The EA had pre-sent some of that stuff. So I want to say it's 2019. I could be wrong in the year and staff can correct that, but it's somewhere around there. So it's not even that old. So council, just because you had some conversation there when we were discussing, but we had a motion on the floor.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I was just wondering in transition if things have been lost, things aren't getting through, maybe we just need to resend again. Keep resending, and keep resending. I don't know what else to add to that. But yeah, they have to take care of this. This is not on us. This is the government's responsibility, and they need to step it up.
Yep, appreciate that. Before I go to Council Julie, I just want to get, and maybe staff correct if this would be the right place to ask, but, if we're going to have staff send a letter for a meeting, I have sent an email. If it gets replied to, does council have an issue if we were to meet earlier than that letter is maybe sent? Is there a concern from anybody on council? Council Norbury?
Sooner the better. Ultimately, if your avenue of communication has faster results, let's call a special meeting to arrange travel.
I'm just want to advise council, it may be, I'm in Vancouver. Councillor Julik?
I guess I'm interested in knowing if we maybe have a folder open with some dates and stuff in it, so that if that happens when we're in Vancouver, it's a quick and easy call to Ms. Torville or somebody to say, hey, can you give us a timeline? Because to me, if we do get to meet, I want that minister, whoever we're talking to realize that this isn't new, this isn't off the cuff, this is something that we've been working on, this is something we've had town meetings about and all of that stuff. So I'd really like to make sure that we're ready for that type of meeting, if that's at all possible.
Put a motion on the floor. You had one earlier that you were talking about in regards to that. Put that on the floor. Staff will start working on it when they can. Councillor Julik?
I'd like to make a motion that staff have a portfolio, whatever word that works for them, sorry, portfolio with detailed information with dates in regards to BC housing within our community.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Hoffman, discussion. I just want to clarify with staff that they understand what we're looking for in the motion, dates, the timelines that we had the meetings and stuff like that. I mean, we'll have the emails chained about the poll. Okay. Okay, any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Motion carries. Any more discussion in regards to the Minister of Housing, 7.8? Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't hear a motion for a follow-up letter. I think that's something that we should do, even though we're looking for meetings. I don't know if those are going to succeed, as Councillor Julik pointed out. I actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I think I'll wait until I see that portfolio and that we're more ready to go. I did want to address what Councillor Julik said earlier. I am not confident in BC Housing having either the numbers or the will to push this forward. When I put a motion forward for staff time on this, I understand that I may not have the support, but frankly, this is one of the higher priorities for the town going forward. And I think we might need to be prepared. So I'm putting the bug in the ear now to spend some staff time on preparation for this. I would be happy enough to see what we have at this point in time. So I'm going to make that motion that the housing development plan that we have, whatever the date was, be brought to council so we can, or a copy be given to council so we can start to look at that. But I have my doubts that a 4-year-old or 5-year-old plan is going to meet the current needs. And but I think we should look at what we have before we do anything more than that. But this issue is not going away, and I don't think it's going to be a happy discussion amongst the 7 of us on a regular basis. And I just think we need to be prepared to do things we would rather not do, including staff time, to push this forward. So, as I said, I'm not making any other motions. I guess I should ask through Mayor if they need a motion to bring the previous report regarding housing development in the area to us. And if they don't, then I will leave it at that. And if they do, then I'll make the motion.
Yeah, you won't. Just email Ms. Torval or come in town hall and grab it. Yep, they're available to us. Okay, Councillor Julik, this is going to be the last one. Councillor Julik.
I am actually sorry. I should have just turned my button on, because until it comes forward again, like I'm definitely not on the same page as you. But it's not something we need to debate tonight. So.
Okay. Okay. Any other items from consent agenda that council like to bring forward? Councillor Julik.
7.6, please.
For discussion. Seconder. I'll second that. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Julik.
I'm thinking from what I look at the fuel report at the end that this has already been taken care of. I just wanted to make sure that we were where we needed to be with this for the province.
Ms. Torval.
Thank you. I believe we are. I will confer with Chief Curry, but yes. He is confirmed.
Confirmed? Okay, good enough. Yeah, so there, I'll just, I mean, this isn't it yet, but there is more to come. They are pushing a lot of stuff down back into municipalities or local governments. I know through the PRD, we're fighting a lot of the emergency management stuff that they're trying to force down right now, because it's a huge responsibility that could be coming onto whether it's municipalities or rural districts, and the funding for it. So there'll be more to come. There was a deadline, but the deadline's already been extended because of all the feedback. Okay, is there anything else council would like to bring forward? Councillor Noxano.
714.
Councillor Gillick.
I will excuse myself as I believe I'm in conflict.
Okay. Yeah. Seconder. I'll second that. All in favor for discussion? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councillor Noxano, for bringing that forward, because I had it marked. So go ahead.
It's just a letter from the School District 59 inviting us to come discuss their strategic priorities and budget. Wondering if anybody wanted to attend, if that's something we want to engage on. Obviously, I think education is very important in our district, as I have 2 kids attending school here.
Yeah, so thank you, Councillor Noxano, for bringing that forward, but I plan to bring it forward. It's January 24th, 2024 at the Fix Urban Grill from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. If any council wants to go or can go, I think we need to advise Ms. Torval so that we can get booked in. I'm away, so I'm not sure if you're available, but if you do, you will have another meeting that day. It ends at about 3 o'clock, so you'd have time if you want. But it'd be good to have some representation, and if council can't go, I believe that if we need a motion, that the acting mayor should at least be there, because I can't attend. So I'll put a motion on the floor that council approves travel and expenses to attend January 24th, 2024 strategic planning and budget consultation for School District 59. I'll take a seconder. Councillor Noxano. Any discussion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, is there any more discussion on that one before we bring Councillor Julie back in? Okay, please. Okay, is there any other items that council would like to bring forward? Okay, I have one, and that'd be 7.13 for discussion, please. If I can get a seconder. Councillor Norbury, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Orville, can we just understand, and I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to go on and look it up. The other one I know where locations are. Can we get an idea where this is, CTI?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to council. This one is out near Chetwynd, and it is near the Sekunka area. And there is a small, I should let council know, there is a small portion that is going to be in the area of the Boulder Lake Recreation Site, but those properties are out near Chetwynd.
Okay, thank you. I thought that's what when I looked it up a while back, that's what I thought, but I wanted to confirm I was right. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, are there any other items council like to bring forward? Okay, moving on to new business. Strategic priorities, item forwarded from the January 8th, 2024 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting for approval. Take a recommendation, please. Councillor Julick.
That council approves the 2024 strategic priorities as presented, with the understanding that some items may change due to budgetary implications.
Seconder. Councillor Clickash, discussion. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. 9.2 Council of Forest Industry, COFI 2024, report dated January 15th, 2024, from the Executive Assistant regarding Council of COFI 2024. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That council approves travel for the mayor and councillors to attend the BC Council of Forest Industries, COFI 2024. Should I read the second part there? Yep. And that council identifies and approves travel costs for the other councillors to attend the conference.
Take a seconder. Councillor Julik, discussion. Just so council's aware, I will be attending Kofi. For myself, I have a free entry into it. So I just want council to be aware of that. And if any other councils are wanting to go, Councillor Norbury, I believe Community Forest representatives should be there, but that'll be up to you. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I was hoping to attend this conference. I think it's important for Community Forest representative to attend, and it's interesting to see what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I know I attended last year with Councillor Norbury. It was my first time going to Kofi. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't have a sawmill or that within Tumbler Ridge, but we have the community forest. And, I'll be honest, I think a lot of that comes that we have no stumpage increase for our community forest. Going to Kofi, but also hitting up the ministry. So any other councillor looking to attend? Okay. Councillor Noxana?
I would attend if there's space available.
Yeah, they can. Just making sure they got them down. Councillor Noxana as well. Okay, any other councillors? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. 9.3, Johnny Malcolm Foundation exempt events application. Report dated January 15th, 2024 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Johnny Malcolm Foundation exempt events application. Councillor Noxana.
The council approves, can I just do the alternative to the amendment? The council
Need any motion you want.
an amendment to the Admin 38 approved exempt events policy to include the Johnny Malcolm Memorial Golf Tournament annually.
Okay. Seconder. Councillor Norbury. Discussion. Councillor Julik.
Sorry, I'm not seeing the alternate.
It's in the recommendation on page 153.
Oh, okay.
But there's an alternative compared to the recommended. Staff gave an alternative.
Okay, 150.
Page 153 of our agenda. Need a few minutes?
Yes, please.
Councillor Noxana, then Councillor Hoffman.
So my reasoning for the alternative to the first recommendation is that this is an annual golf tournament by an organization that gives a ton back to our community and has a lot of support from our community to put on these events. So if this is an annual thing, let's get them the annual.
Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm just not comfortable with this, like, in perpetuity being pre-approved. I'd be okay if we set, like, a number of years, like a 3-year or 5-year, but I don't think I can support just a given annual pass without some form of review built in. Thanks.
Thanks. I got myself, then I got Councillor Noxana. I guess my comment would be, I like when it comes forward because, and I can't remember the policy, my bad, but we allow, I believe it's 3 a year or 2 a year. So it gives us opportunity if there's another group that comes forward to be able to offer this. When you lock one in, it takes that opportunity away from being able to share it. So I understand, and I think it's a great organization that has come forward in Tumbler Ridge and a bunch of group of volunteers and board members and all that participate and support it. But to me, when it comes forward, and if there's more than just one, maybe there's 4 next year, we're already locked into one. To me, this gives us an opportunity to have a look at all of them if they so decide. So that's my thoughts. Councillor Noxana?
Thank you. So our policy allows for 3 annual golf tournaments, and we only have 1. And I think that we as a board have actually discussed this before, that it might have even been the Johnny Malcolm Foundation applies every year, goes through the process, hoping to plan this big fundraiser for their organization. And their organization pays sports fees for youth in our community who otherwise wouldn't be able to play sports. So it is a very needed organization in our community. They're doing a great thing. They have those youth and their parents come back and help with their fundraisers. And we have space available. It's not that we're using our last annual free pass for golf. We have 3. TR Cares is already there offering the same thing for their organization. We're just allowing this second organization the same benefit.
Yeah. And my thoughts, or my if I remember correctly, the TR Legion, the vets, usually put in for one, I believe. So that's my concern of doing an annual. That's just me. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. Thinking about this request, I don't think I've ever said no to the John O'Hanley Foundation, and would I ever say no? I don't think so. Not unless there was some serious concerns about them, and if that's the case, then we can just as quickly remove them off. I don't feel too strongly either way, but I do appreciate the importance for an organization to have something in their back pocket to rely upon every year. I know the Johnny Malcolm Foundation is a great foundation. Can't say I wouldn't. I don't think I'd ever say no.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Councillor Julik?
For me, it's not this particular one, and after we're settled on this motion, I'll be putting forward another one. My concern is that we have all of these. We're asking to do it without a value attached to it. We're asking to do it without knowing how many we've already approved. Like, I can look here and see that TR Cares usually runs about $3,000, and so maybe that's what it is. So do I have a specific concern on this one? No, not necessarily. For me, it's looking at the list that we already have. And for me, I just feel like we need to get a dollar amount on that before it gets out of hand, maybe. Like, so is this list that I'm looking at on the back of the Rangers request the right one? Like, is this the one that we do in perpetuity already? Am I understanding that right? This one here?
I have page 160.
And it shows a $24,000 total?
Ms. Torval? Sorry, I have a different one in the agenda that I'm using.
Thank you, council. So the value for this one, I believe, is in the financial budgetary implications for this golf tournament. Weekend green fees for 18 holes, $40 per person. So for 80 golfer tournament is $3,200.
Okay.
For this one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think she was looking at it, and sorry, my bad, I could have answered that, I was on there. I think Councillor Julik's asking on, I know it wasn't added to our agenda because it didn't get unanimous decision, but on the Junior Ranger one, their last page shows with all the golf, without the golf tournament except for TR Cares, the total value of in-kinds is $24,622.08. Is that number correct? The very top of it has Tumbler Ridge Lions Club bingo. So there's just a total at the bottom there. She's asking if that budget number is correct, 24 grand.
I'm sorry, council, I'm not. Okay, 24,622.08. Yes, that is the total for the ones that are currently there,
Currently listed. Okay.
I think.
That was your question, right?
It is, and I have a follow-up.
Okay, follow up.
I guess, and I know we've probably had this discussion, but is there a reason we aren't doing this? I just feel disjointed with it all. Like, I just feel like if we have a grant and aid system that everybody has to come every once a year to do, and we do that for budget season, we have this in, so then we have this list, and then we have two more open for application. Like, it just feels disjointed to me is all. Because I don't want to let this, I'm okay to approve this with the understanding that I definitely would like to delve deeper into how we do this. I know I've probably had the answer, and I'm happy to go talk to Ms. Torville outside of a meeting. I just feel like this is really disjointed.
So just before I go to Councilor Oksana, so the reason this approved exempt list came forward, previously, we would see this as council all the time. So it was taking up tons of staff time for them to write the report, to bring it forward about the weekly bingo. They're asking for that to be exempt. The breakfast, or almost said the wrong one there, the Geoparks Fishing Derby, but there's also the, Nordic Mountain Society and Emperor's Challenge. So they had to come forward every year, and it was tying up a lot of staff time to bring those reports forward, try to get them before the event so they knew it. So we had staff reach out, figure out some of the events that are always to come forward, So that's where this was linked, and that's why you see it in front of you. And then obviously the prices to it. Now, you know, I'm assuming we adjust them as, you know, if the cost goes up or whatever. But some things haven't been removed because the organization no longer is doing this one, so they've removed it on their own. That's where this sheet came in. And then obviously TR Cares was something that was supported. They constantly came in and asked for golf tournaments, so it was added as an annual. And then the Council of the Day added 2 extras for other organizations, whether it's the Johnny Malcolm Foundation, the Legion, the Geopark, the museum, and that's why I have, you know, it's open, so there's opportunities for other not-for-profits to come forward, Torah, Mountain Bike Association, whoever. Councillor Noxana, then Councillor Clickash.
I think the idea behind giving them this annual assurance is that they can plan their organization, they can plan their budget, they can plan on who to sponsor based on the confidence that they can have this fundraiser, this fundraiser, this fundraiser. As someone who's helped organize events in town, it means so much knowing already what you can rely on and what has been taken off your plate. You don't need to fill out the paperwork and come in and wait for 7 new people to decide if you can have this fundraiser. It's set.
Councillor Clickash?
Yes, Your Worship. I just don't, they haven't said which financial barriers for local youth in sports they're going to support.
So I'm well aware. They help with whether it's figure skating fees, minor hockey fees, equipment, scholarships. Like they are doing, like, I mean, and that's why I don't have, like, you know, I don't have a concern with them as an organization. They do a lot for our youth within our community.
Yep.
For you know, young adults even that can't, you know, pay for equipment and stuff, safety equipment. They're making sure they have all that stuff. So that's, you know, that's what they're doing for the youth and our children in town.
Okay.
So sports related, majority of it. As far as I know they did help, I believe, with a young guy in town that, you know, had a mobility issue, which is, to me, is still recreational.
Oh, okay, stuff like that too.
Yep.
Yeah, they just announced that there's a $25,000 grant from the Wickenhauser Foundation this morning for hockey, for kids that want to get into hockey, and it's exactly the same idea. And the hockey can apply for it right away.
Yeah. So, like, so majority of my understanding, I go to Councillor So, but I mean, I'm not interlinked with their organization, but families will apply for it through them. It's not always organization. Because minor hockey also has the one through Canadian Tire, can't remember what it's called, but sorry, Jumpstart, thank you. So there's that organization too that helps pay hockey fees and all that too, right? So there's quite a few coming forward. But this one's a local one, in memory of a local.
It's been going for how many years?
I like Council Knoxana answer that one. I think 5. I think. Don't hold me to that number, but it's in memory of a young man here in town that took his own life. So, Council Knoxana.
Yeah, so just to respond to Councillor Clickash, it is for any sport, not just hockey. And it also puts some of that ownership back on the family, that they can apply for the funding, and there's certain criteria that they need to meet to prove that they have a barrier to enter into sports. But the family then has to help with some of the fundraising going forward. There's so many hours that either the child or sometimes the parents or guardians need to participate in, just to help keep the funds up for the next children and give that ownership back to the families, that they're getting the funding, but they need to help get the funding for the next one. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And yeah, that they support, I think there's scholarships they offer at the high school and just so many things here in town.
Okay, any more discussion? So I do have another comment. I don't want to be the only person, so hopefully somebody will talk after. Again, Councillor Noxana, I think it's a great idea, great motion. The only thing is, like I said, we offer up 2 of them, and I agree with Councillor Norbury. Would I ever say no? Probably not, but when there's 3 or 4 come forward, then it's a council decision. They're gonna have to make a tough decision. When you only have 1 spot left, it's even a harder decision. And to me, I think more and more organizations may hopefully look at this. I mean, it's definitely a fundraiser, and I think it's a good fundraiser, but, you know, it comes to a point, there's other organization, and to me, when we put the 1 in there, to me, I like the 2 spots. I mean, I guess council can always waive policy and add, but at this point, I won't support the motion on the floor. So, any more discussion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Opposed was Councillor Hoffman and Mayor Kukalka. Schedule of meetings. I have one thing for sure to start off with. I put a motion on the floor that council's January 29th budget meeting. I'll need a seconder, please. Councillor Noxana, discussion. Councillor Julik.
Is this with the hope that we will make it up eventually? Like, this is 2 meetings now, budget meetings we've canceled in January. Canceling this with the understanding that they'll have to be rescheduled, or is this just canceling them?
No, these will all be rescheduled, and we've canceled more than a couple. There'll be many budget meetings coming forward in February and March. Realizing that after we have a budget meeting, staff needs, you know, whether it's the 2-week rotation or whatever it is before we can have the next one so they can go and do the things they have to do. But I would, you know, make sure that, you know, I mean, we need a majority of council, but I would think we will be adding budget meetings in February, March, and April when need be. So, I mean, I'd add some in February right now, but I think we just need to wait to hear back from staff when they're prepared to move forward. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, is there anything else from council in regards to the schedule of meetings? Okay. Uh, 9.5, follow-up action item list, fuel. Fuel is presented for council for information, and additionally, staff is requesting the items noted on fuel designated for budget discussion or strategic priorities be removed. Recommendation, please. Councillor Julik.
That the items on the current fuel designated for budget deliberation or strategic priorities be removed.
Seconder. Councillor Dussault. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carries. Any notice of motions? Okay. 10.1, activation of ORV working group. Notice of motion brought forward by Mayor Kukalka at December 4th, 2023, regular council meeting. I'm going to read the recommendation that council supports the activation of the ORV working group. Need a seconder, please. Councillor Noberry, discussion. Councillor Julik.
I was just hoping you could give me some history as to what your motivation on the motion is.
Yeah, so previously I think it was my first term with staff. It started up through discussions with some of the ATV or ORV users looking to be able to access trails to leave the community, you know, from their residents. Some of us have it fairly easy to live on a green space or whatever, back onto a green space that can leave out their backyards. Some of them live in the middle of the community. They're looking for access just to hit the trail to leave the community. So it's not to drive around the community. So myself and Councillor Noxana attended discussion with BCATV at UBCM. And had a discussion there, and they were willing to have some dialogue. So we had a quick overview or dialogue at the fire hall with ourselves, so myself and Councillor Noxana, Tim Croston, Sergeant Moffat. I believe that was all that was there. Oh, and then obviously the lady from ATVBC was on the call. So we started the preliminary conversation, and then I realized that we've actually, you know, didn't have this group started, wasn't on my sheet, so the first step is this, and then get back into that dialogue. So from their side, it seems like they thought maybe we wanted to have access for people to be able to drive down to the grocery store, the gas stations, the restaurants, the banks, or whatever, and that's not what we were looking for. It's more or less to hit a trail, the nearest trail to your residence to leave town, not the nearest trail of your residence to go to your friend's house. So they figure it'll be fairly simple. There's some obviously things we have to put into place. The town has already prepared itself previously when this discussion first started by adding a 4-way stop and a 3-way stop. That was because we thought this thing was moving forward. We also added a trail off the 4-way stop because we thought it was that far advanced. Well, I think we may see some of it, and I think it's still needed within our community. I mean, not everybody has trailers, and I guess you can still load up or find a friend, but that's kind of why we want to get this discussion going. To me, if we can get the ORV where we get issued permits that we can leave our residents to the nearest trailhead and away you go outside the municipality and ride, we could issue those permits for tourists that stay at our hotels. They don't have to load up every day. That's something I believe, my understanding, that the visitor center has heard about. I've heard about it personally, that, you know, it'd be nice to be able to just leave and hit that trail and wait. And most of them are doing it now anyways, if they know where our trailheads are over there. So that's the idea of it. And I think if that comes to fruition, it's always been talked about, and that's something that that group would have to bring back to council. But many people here in town, avid golfers, I went and spent the money and added horns, single lights and all that to their golf course. So they looked at that was going to be a pilot project and never came through. So I think that's the next step if this was to go through. Any more discussion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Seniors Aging in Place meeting, no motion brought forward by Councillor Norbury at the December 4th, 2023 regular council meeting. Councillor Norbury?
That staff contact the Dawson Creek Society for Community Living and the District of Chetwynd to arrange a meeting in regards to seniors aging in place and services the Dawson Creek Society for Community Living is looking to expand in our area.
Okay, seconder? I'll second that. Discussion? Councillor Chulik?
So would this meeting be open to our own seniors group here in Tumbler Ridge?
I'm thinking Councillor Norbury is looking for delegation. Councillor Norbury?
I'm looking for a PPC meeting.
Looking for a delegate. So it'd be open. I mean, I think, you know, obviously people live feed, but I mean, I think it's a good opportunity to get, you know, can reach out to Forever Young and let them know what we're doing. Maybe we'll get some people in the gallery, but I thank Councillor Norbury for attending the meeting that happened in Chetwynd, and this was brought forward by the PRD because the PRD had started up a program that we initiated, or they initiated, I shouldn't say we because I wasn't part of it. We've taken it to Northern Health at the UBCM for them to take over the funding. So to me now, what the regional district is looking at is we're waiting to hear about the funding from Northern Health or from the government, from Health, Minister of Health. And if they take over that, which it sounds fairly promising at the UBCM, is to add more communities. Cost comes down. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Business, Councillor Dussault, thank you very much. Anything else from councillors? Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakelka. I know we're supposed to do written reports, but I've been a little busy the last few weeks, so I do have 3 meetings I want to report on. First off, we had the Community Forest AGM recently, and I believe we have at least one more person potentially joining our board, but that has to go through the application process, all that. So I think the biggest takeaway from that meeting is we may actually look like we could be harvesting this year. Ultimately, it does come down to if we can get good bids from the local forestry operators in our region. You know, they kind of set the price and what they're willing to pay for our timber, but we think that we could potentially be logging this year. Also, we found out that we can apply to the government to receive funding to replace all of the burned trees in our inventory from the community forest. Not the entirety of the burned area, but at least the community forest specifically can go and get funding to replant the area that's been burned. So, you know, I can say that our intention will be to do that, and we'll be going in and reforesting that area with the saplings. So, it's a good thing. I wanted to update about the South Peace Health Service Society. We met with the Minister of Health the Deputy Minister of Health, and that was a very productive meeting. I believe we have secured some long-term funding there. And then the Child Care Task Force, we met recently, and it was a relatively short meeting, but ultimately we are going to be looking at how many children that Kanuma has, because we really want to identify our industry partners and how we can fit their needs. Kanuma is working through and identifying how many children that are in Tumbler Ridge that are attached to their company. There's quite a few, quite a few hundred. And the next step is to identify what their childcare needs are, so that the YMCA or school district can partner up with them. The YMCA is very interested in trying to build to suit for them. And I believe we're going to be looking at creating a community-wide survey to do similar. Just so that we can get a concrete number for the school district along with the YMCA, so that we can look at how to address the needs. School district has performed a survey themselves for school-age children, but this would be designed for under that, for the 0 to 3, and then for the YMCA to get more information about how to tailor to suit. So, yeah, those are my meetings. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Julik?
I just wanted to note that I do attend our health meetings regularly. There's lots of them. Those minutes don't come through until they've been approved at the next meeting, so those why they have not been included in these. And our last meeting, we didn't have enough attendance for the Tumbler Ridge Health Task Force, so hoping to meet end of January, beginning of February for that. So if there are any concerns or questions, please send them my way, because we generally have some pretty good attendance at those, and it's good to get ahead of questions.
Thank you. Councillor Clickash?
Yes, Your Worship, I attended the AGM for the community forest, and they explained things very well in their AGM, and I was really impressed on how they operate. I believe that they really got a handle on everything, and they're really careful with their money, and they're looking for bigger log prices and to make some more money. So they're doing a really good job, as far as I'm concerned.
Good. Good. Okay, any other councillors' business? Okay, I want to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Norbury, Councillor Hoffman, and myself for attending the Holy Jolly. I think that was well received. Councillor, just over you there. Yeah. Thank you. I thought you were there, sorry. Forgot one of you. Well done by staff, so thanks to staff again. Again, it's all set up by staff. We just show up and light the tree up. I'd like to thank Councillor Norbury for having his daughter there to help participate in that. I think it's great when we can involve the children in the community to actually do it. They all seem to line up and bug you on who gets to do it. So next year we have some new young ladies coming forward, and then the year after that, there's already a promise out. So I did it the 1 year, and now it seems like they hit you up that night to find out who gets to do it. So I think it's great to involve the children, let the children do it, be there to participate. Participated in the sledding Santa with Global Geopark. I drove Santa Claus around the community. Hats off to Global Geopark. I mean, they did an amazing job, amazing organizing it. Jesse from the town was there doing live feeds and stuff, so I want to thank Jesse for that. I think that's a huge thing, and people get to see when it's coming down the street. So I think when staff participates, thanks for that, to see staff get out and just get themselves involved as well as mayor and council. So thanks to Councillor DeSoto, she was able to attend and drive the dyno truck. So I appreciate that. When we talk about that, I think whether we need a motion or we need to put a star beside it, I think when we do this sledding Santa in the geopark, that we decorate the council vehicle. Take some time, and if we need to put a budget to it, then I think that needs to come forward. I understand it's lights and it's some time or whatever, but I believe the mayor or the councillor vehicle is the only one not decorated that day. So I know previously it was done by staff, and I think it just got missed. It's not staff's fault; it's the mayor's fault. I should have sent an email asking for it to be decorated, but if we can if staff needs something so that we don't forget to do that, and maybe staff doesn't need to do it, maybe mayor and council need to get together and do it themselves. So can't always rely on staff, and I see staff smiling now. So, but maybe that's an opportunity for us to get together too. And I'm pretty sure we could just ask staff for a location, but maybe that's something to get us in the Christmas season too, and do it ourselves. Maybe it's even better idea that way. We could have a contest with the fire department, show them how to decorate. I don't know, something like that. But yeah. So thanks for all those people that attended those. I had a meeting with some Soto Nation members just out and about. I was in town one day, so I had a coffee with a couple elders, so it was a great conversation with them. I'm heading to Vancouver for AME with Councillor Julik, and we will be, at this point, meeting with Kanimacole, and at this point, we'll be meeting with West Moberly as well. We're waiting to hear back from a couple other nations, and then we'll keep council informed if we end up getting a chance to meet with other nations, so Soto and McLeod Lake are the other two. I'm not sure if McLeod Lake's attending. But other than that, that's all I have for council business. Anybody else? Okay. So questions received after the December 4th meeting ended. Staff reached out to me that evening. I'm not sure if she made it home or not, to apologize that there was an email that she did receive eventually. It just didn't come through on time, so we got them now. The following questions were submitted by resident Joanne Kirby during the December 4th council meeting. Our staff did not receive them until after the meeting had ended. So question 1, I'd like council to reconsider adding costs on the agendas for residents regarding budget breakdown. The breakdown of costs shows transparency. I also understand that some projects need to go out to RFP and those costs need to be hidden, but that can be stated. And my apology, maybe didn't explain it well. All of our budget numbers are in our budget program to be viewed by residents and such, except for ones that are going out as capital RFPs. That's the only ones that we've asked staff not to list in the open agendas, is the ones that we know we'll be having to send out to an RFP. So I apologize to the resident if I miscommunicated it, but it is only the ones that are capital items or other items that, whether it's equipment or that would be going out to an RFP. And tonight you've seen it, is can the mayor state who votes in the negative on live meetings? As a resident, I may want to reach out to the council regarding a council vote. So I'm sorry, but I don't watch my own meetings, but understanding that they can't see all of our votes. So you've seen that tonight, so I'll be doing that going forward. And I ask whoever has to direct a meeting that they do the same thing to read out the ones that vote opposed. And that is no way or means to isolate a councillor because you have voted opposed. I want to make sure that was known. I meant to discuss that with council before the meeting tonight, but I think it's only right that they know who voted opposed. So, done. Any questions for this evening, Ms. Dorval?
No, Your Worship, there aren't any questions this evening.
Okay. Resolution council, or to close meeting, recommendation, please. Councillor Norbert, or Councillor Julik, sorry.
That the January 15th, 2024 regular council meeting be closed to the public according to Section 91C and J of the Community Charter to permit discussions about C, labor relations or other employee relations, and J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented on a document, would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Seconder. Councillor Clickash, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.